Hello students, Jai Swaminarayan. I am Professor Urvish Mewada, HOD Electrical Department, Sri Swaminarayan Institute of Technology, Part Gandhinagar. I am the subject matter of Industrial Instrumentation subject, which is in the 7th semester GTU Electrical Department, and the subject code is 2170913. This is the third lecture for II Chapter 2 Strain Gauge. So in previous lecture we studied means in lecture number 2 we have studied about strain gauge types and strain gauge materials. So now in this third lecture we will start with the temperature compensation in the strain gauge. Now first of all we need to understand what they mean by temperature compensation and what are the adverse effect of the temperature on the performance of the strain gauge. Now here, as we already discussed, that in strain gauge we generally use a resistive strain gauge, and as the resistance change, sorry, as the temperature change, resistance will change. So when the strain measurement are done for long period of time, so it is subjected to change in the ambient temperature because of the applied voltage and applied stress. Now as a result, this change in resistivity in material of the gauge, so that's why its resistivity change for long period, means using of the long period of time this gauge, and the apparent strain because of the differential expansion of the gauge will affected. Now this affect this due to this effect, change in the ambient temperature and change in the stress, the resistance of the strain gauge will change. And generally we use balance bridge circuit to measure the strain with the help of strain gauge. So if the resistance is permanently changed, or is there any abnormality occur in the gauge, so that can measure a wrong reading, and it can be, it can show the wrong output. So that's why we need to compensate a temperature while we use strain gauge for the strain measurement. Now uh, this is the formula generally we applied for strain measurement. So change in the resistance to the original resistance due to change in the temperature. So these are the uh, coefficient and gauge factor of the strain gauge for this particular formula. So alpha s is the coefficient of linear expansion of the specimen, and alpha g is the coefficient of the linear expansion of the gauge material, and beta is the coefficient of resistivity of the gauge material, and delta t is the change in the ambient temperature. Now g is the gauge factor of the strain gauge. So uh, from this we can say, if the gauge material and specimens uh, is under test have the same coefficient of the linear expansion, then the term alpha s minus alpha g becomes 0. And that's why uh, uh, from that we can say that but the resistivity change will exist due to the permanent deformation, or we can say increase in the temperature of the strain gauge. So that gives the rise to the considerable error while we use strain gauge for the strain measurement. And this error can be reduced by using temperature compensated gauges. So this is nothing but the temperature compensation of the strain gauge. The main idea behind to compensate the temperature, we are minimizing the error which are produced during the measurement of the strain with the help of strain gauge. Because as we use a strain gauge for a long period of time, and as we use strain gauge means in the electrical circuit, so due to that as the temperature, due to the change in the temperature, means internal temperature of the strain gauge, the permanent deformation can be harm the internal property of the strain gauge, and so that it can show considerable, means non-considerable errors. So that's why we need to compensate the temperature while we use that strain gauge in the circuit. Now, in the temperature comparison, generally it comprises of two elements of different materials. Like the materials are constantan and nickel. So the dimension of the material are such that the temperature induce, means change of the resistance in one element, can be nullified. So here what we are using, one is the strain gauge and we are using a dummy gauge. So whenever the temperature increases, the dummy gauge will nullify the temperature, means increment of the temperature, and the temperature induced change in the other material can be nullified with the help of a dummy gauge, or we can say temperature compensated gauge. So as a result, the minimum apparent strain will occur, and so that the strain gauge can show the accurate reading. So temperature compensation through the bridge arrangement, this is how we can compensate the temperature. So uh, in strain measurement, generally, sorry, in strain measurement, the temperature compensation can be obtained by correctly positioning the strain gauge. So if the position of the strain gauge is improper while we are measuring the strain, the error can be arise. So we need to, the first thing we need to keep in mind that we have to position the, means place the strain gauge properly. Now the change in the resistance is because of two reasons. First is actual strain experienced by the gauge, because as we apply the strain, the dimension of the strain gauge will change, so as the resistance of the strain gauge will change. That is obvious, because strain gauges, we are using strain gauge for the strain measurement. And the second is the most important thing that we need to compensate, is the temperature variation. Now whenever the temperature variation occur, due to that the permanent deformation, means internal deformation, maybe occur or maybe arise inside the strain gauge, and it can show the wrong reading, or a reading having error. So for any strain gauge, we can have this equation. So change in the resistance to the original resistance, uh, this is the resistance change just because of the two reasons. So first reason is change in resistance to the original resistance due to the strain applied, or the applied input quantity, and change in resistance to the original resistance due to the temperature. So this two reason, and we need to compensate this one, so we can minimize the error while we use the strain gauge for the strain measurement. Now uh, generally, the epsilon is the stress or strain, and T is the temperature. So the subscripts epsilon and T indicate the change because of the strain and temperature respectively. So here we are considering here we are means selecting the reason that we want to compensate, that is delta R by R, means due to the temperature. So this must be minimized, so that we can minimize the error. Now consider a four arm Western bridge, means you can imagine the four arm Western bridge, and that may or not may be subjected to strain. Means case one we are considering, first case. So in the balance Western bridge, we have the four arms having four resistance. So first resistance is the active gauge, means subjected to strain. That for that we are measuring, with the help of that strain gauge we are measuring the strain. And rest of the resistance are for the resistance number 2, that is the compensating gauge. Means as we stress applied on the R1, and due to that the means by applying that strain and stress for long period of time, the temperature of the R1 will increase, so that R2 parallelly, means this gauge is subjected to ambient temperature, that uh, uh, at that time that of R1, but not subjected to strain, means R2 parallelly compensate the changes, means temperature changes into the R1, but R2 is not subjected to strain, because R2 is compensating gauge or compensating resistance for the R1, and R3 and R4 are the fixed resistors. So imagine this bridge having this four arms. Now the output voltage of that means balance bridge is depending upon the variation of the resistance due to the stress applied. So V output basically depending upon the V in into, here this is the printing mistake, A by 1 plus A square, and this is delta R1 by R1, epsilon is the due to the applied strain, plus delta R1 by R1 due to the temperature, and this is the compensating gauge, so it is minimizing the effect, means temperature effect in R1, so that's why minus delta R2 by R2 due to the temperature. Now if R1 is equal to R2, means both are equal, then delta R1 by R1 due to the temperature and delta R2 by R2 due to the temperature, both will become equal, and A is equal to 1. So if we place this values over here, then we will get V out is equal to V in into here 1 plus 1 2 squared 4, so 1 by 4 into delta R1 by R1 due to the strain. So this is how we can minimize the effect due to the temperature. This is only the effect of the strain. Now V out is depending upon the V in into gauge factor into the strain applied, divide by 4. So due to this compensating gauge, we are nullifying the effect of the temperature on the strain gauge. Now the bridge sensitivity can be measured with the help of this equation. So S stands for sensitivity, so S is depending upon the V out by strain. So V out is basically from the previous equation is V in into G into strain divided by 4, so strain will be cancelled out. So sensitivity basically depending upon the gauge factor and input voltage from this equation. So if I is the current passing through the gauge, so V in will become 2I R1. So that's why the sensitivity S1 in terms of bridge current is S1 is equal to I R1 into G divided by 2, because 2 divided by 4, it means this will become 2 2s are 4, so divide by 2, and S1 by I will become R1 into G divided by 2. So from this we can say the sensitivity of this gauge is purely depending upon the gauge which we use for the strain measurement, and the gauge factor of that particular strain gauge. So this is the first case. Now for the second case, R4 is compensating gauge, means dummy gauge, instead of R2, and R1 is the active gauge. So for that we can write the equation S1 by I, so V out by uh, epsilon into I. So here this is the P by 1 plus P, and V out is R1 into G. So this is nothing but the 1 by 2 R1 into G. So with the case number 2, we can write this equation, and the current sensitivity can be higher than that obtained case number 1. So however, it indicates that the large excitation voltage is needed to maintain the same gauge current. So therefore the temperature compensation can be obtained by using identical strain gauge, and by this we can nullify the effect of temperature change, and that gauge exposed to same environment in either of adjacent arm of the active gauge in the bridge circuit. So this is how in second case we can consider means strain gauge for the temperature measurement, means dummy gauge for the temperature measurement. Now we have seen the temperature compensation through the means dummy gauge, and the means resistance applied, which can compensate the effect of means temperature. So now let's see the application of the strain gauge. So they are used in generally electrical transducer device that we already seen, because of the high accuracy. Why this means, if we apply a stress, we cannot actually see that the dimension of the strain gauge is changing, but they are so sensitive that if we apply a normal strain for that, it will show the output. So that's why these instruments are excellent, these instruments having excellent reliability, and they are means user friendly in the instrumentation for the strain measurement. And the strain gauges are commonly used for the displacement measurement, pressure measurement, force measurement, and displacement and acceleration measurement. So the most commonly used strain gauge is this, is the diagram. For that we are using means for that we are with the help of we are measuring the strain. So this is the bridge circuit. Here you can see that this is the hinge support of this strain gauge. The upper resistances are R1, means odd resistances R1 and R3. So this one R1 and this is the R3, and the bottom resistances are R2 and R4. This is again a printing mistake. So this is R2 and R4. Now if we apply force on this means strain, the above means the resistance which are upper side will have a expansion, and the bottom resistances will have the compression. So due to the change in the length of the means substance or material, the resistance will change, and so as this balance bridge will get will become unbalanced. And so as suppose we connect over here a galvanometer, then galvanometer will show the deflection according to the force applied or stress applied. Now the this for this cantilever beam we are using the strain gauge, and R1 and R3 are the subjected to the tension that I explained, and R4 and R2 are the subject to the compression as we apply the load. So this is the equation that we apply for the full bridge for the measurement of force. So change in R1 to the R1, so it can be written as means R1 and R3 both are changing means at the top side. So for R1 and R3 we are writing this equation. The first is delta R1 N. This is N, means N is the N and F both are the indicate that the perpendicular and bending forces. So for N and delta R1 F is equal to say delta R1 F by R1 is equal to delta R for the third resistance. So R3 N divided by 3 plus delta R 3f divided by r3. Similarly, we can write the equation for the delta r2 by r2 and delta r4 by r4 like r1 by r1 and r2 by r2. So this is the equation. So the subscripts n and f that indicates the perpendicular and bending forces. And suppose we want to write an equation for the output voltage, then this will be v out is equal to 1 by 4. Thus we are combining all the resistances. We are taking the ratio, means r1 f uh, by the r1 into v in. So this is how we can means the gauge are if the gauge is symmetrically placed, then the output voltage equation will become like this. So the output voltage is proportional to the change in the resistance. Here you can see that v output is directly proportional to the change in the resistance because of the bending force only. So here we are applying the force, and due to that this gauge will be bended, and due to that the top of the resistance, means r1 and r3 both are, means on the top surface of this resistance will get uh, expanded, and this will get compressed, and due to that the this due to this bending stress, the means the dimension of r1 r3 and r2 r2 r4 will change, and so as the resistance of this gauges will change, and so that we can measure this force in terms of electrical energy or electrical output with the help of this balanced bridge full bridge circuit. Now the strain gauge calibration. First of all, we need to understand what do you mean by calibration. Calibration means comparing any uh, means suppose here we are doing the calibration for the gauge. So comparing the gauge with the standard one, so that is called the calibration. So the generally the strain gauges are used in many application, where it is not possible to check accuracy for the accuracy of the readings, and the strain gauges are so sensitive, so that we can it can detect a minimum input or minimum stress applied, so that we can use strain gauges for the application of the strain measurement. And the strain gauge is bonded in measuring position, so it can be removed or transfer and subjected to known strain or calibration. So here we can use this strain gauge for the. So the strain gauge is generally bonded, means we can remove, and we can replace that strain gauge for we can say if we change the place, then we can remove that strain gauge and we can reuse that strain gauge at other place. So the calibration of the gauge generally deals with making adjustment to get correct reading. So RSH is the shunt reading, and RG is the gauge resistance as shown in this diagram, or means it is over here. So this is the balance bridge. Here we have the switch, and with the switch we have the this arm. For with the arm one we have the shunt resistance, that's why it is RSH is the shunt resistance, and this RG is the gauge resistance that is indicating in this arm, and this is the arm 2, arm 4, and from between B and D we are measuring the output, and this is the V input applied to the strain gauge circuit. Now calibration procedure of the strain gauge use a known change in the value of means resistances, and then measuring the output corresponding to the known as change in the resistance. So basically for the calibration, as I told you that to compare a strain gauge with the known one, or we can say standard one. So we already know the what changes will means arise, or what changes means occur when we give the stress or strain to the strain gauge. So that is what the calibration procedure of the strain gauge means. The resistance of arm 1 before switch S is closed, that is Rg, and resistance of arm after the switch closed, so Rg parallel to the RSH. So both will become in the means this will be become the parallel connection between these two resistances. So this is the formula to find out the parallel resistance, equivalent resistance for the parallel resistance. So Rg into RSH divided by Rg plus RSH, and the change in the resistance of arm 1 is the delta Rg is equal to Rg minus, means delta Rg is the change in the gauge resistance, is equal to original gauge resistance minus this is the total resistance due to this parallel circuit. So this equation will become delta Rg is equal to Rg square divided by Rg plus RSH. So change in the resistance is directly proportional to the square of the resistance, means original resistance divided by the original resistance plus the shunt resistance which is connected in the circuit. So for the calibration means this calibration strain gauge circuit, this is the equation for the change in the gauge resistance. Now uh, the equivalent strain, we can define that strain is the 1 upon gauge factor into delta Rg by Rg. So here the 1 upon gauge factor into 1 upon Rg, so delta Rg from the previous slide is Rg square divided by Rg plus RSH. So when you solve this, you will get Rg upon Gf, Rg plus RSH, and the shunt resistance RSH will become Rg into 1 minus gauge factor into the strain applied divided by gauge factor into the strain. So practically we can say gauge factor and strain is very less than 1, so you can neglect the gf into epsilon. So the equation of RSH will become Rg divided by gauge factor into E. So means gauge factor into epsilon. So here we can consider that RSH is directly proportional to the strain gauge. So the value of the strain can be find with the help of this equation. If a relationship between the output and strain is assumed, only the value of RSH is needed to calibration. So we need to calculate, we need to check the value of RSH while we calibrate the strain gauge, and this value must be chosen such that that it gives the full scale deflection, so that we can calibrate the strain gauge easily and uh, properly. Now after this presentation, and after this presentation of unit number 2, lecture number 3, you have the assignment questions, that is why the temperature compensation is necessary in the case of strain gauge, and what do you mean by calibration and why it is necessary in the instrumentation system, and define temperature compensation and method applied for the compensation. This question is bolded. So this is your assignment question, and the upper two questions are your worksheet questions. This is the most IMP question for this chapter, and this question is repeatedly asked question for the chapter number 2, and the related instructions for the assignment and worksheet questions is written over here. Now you can take the snap of this slide, and if you have any query and doubt, you can solve your query and doubt in our doubt solving session, and feel free to call me anytime. Means you can solve your query by calling me, and if you have any further doubt, then we can solve that one to one. So thank you very much, student. Thank you all. Jai Swaminarayan.